Judgment Day for believers in Jesus. This near-death experience happened to a man who was a pastor. The names have been changed in the story to protect them. I do not own rights to this story. Pastor Paul was in the hospital with double pneumonia. He was uncertain if his spirit left his body, or if he saw a vision. His experience was very real and life-changing. While in the hospital, he felt himself slipping from this life into the heavenly realm. Immediately, he found himself in the long tunnel. Standing in a very long line of people directly beside him was an angel that he knew was assigned to him while he was on earth in front of him. And behind him were men and women, each holding a book. And some people had several large books. In front of the line led to a large opening, similar to a tunnel, with a beautiful light radiating far from the distance. He remembered complaining about the long line, but the angel gave him no answer. Suddenly, the line began to move. They were moved into a large, massive circular chamber. Paul said that that was the largest room he had ever seen. There was a huge amount of people standing in tiers, beginning with the bottom row, working itself up to the top row. The circular rolls were moving upward as far as he could see. These people were standing in attention, each with a book or series of books lying in front of them. Then, Paul realized this was the judgment. The books recorded everyone's works that were on earth, for we must all appear before the judgment seat of Christ, so that each one may receive what is due for what he has done in the body, whether good or evil. 2 Corinthians 5 and 10. Paul said he remembered the overwhelming feeling of not being prepared, for this sudden fear of God gripped his spirit. He recalled a well-known TV evangelist who was in front of him at a distance. The TV evangelist was still alive on earth. This was a warning to this TV evangelist. At that time, it was back in the 80s. At that time, the TV evangelist was reaching millions of people with the gospel at that time. In front of him were many large books with all the deeds that he did on earth. A small woman with one book was beside him. The minister sensed that this was an unknown person by the standard of the world. But she was very faithful to God. All was quiet until certainly in this huge room appeared a throne with Christ seated on it. The minister, since a godly fear swept over him, was overwhelmed by the thought of the judgment seat of Christ. Immediately, the back of the throne opened, and fire started to shoot out like liquid lightning. The lightning struck the books that were in front of each person. He could see the balls of fire had angelic appearances as the angels of fire swapped over the heads of the people. The fire struck the books of each person's book and immediately turned into gemstones or ashes. Paul said he had never heard such mixed sounds. Some people were crying. Some people were laughing. Some were rejoicing. The people whose books were turned to ashes were weeping. The famous TV evangelist was heard to say, "All this was in vain." While the books of the TV evangelist were turned to ashes, the book of the little woman was turned into a pile of precious gemstones. Each one's work will become manifest, for the day will disclose it, because it will be revealed by fire, and the fire will test what sort of work each one has done. If the work that anyone has built on the foundation survives, he will receive a reward. If anyone's work is burned up, he will suffer loss, though he himself will be saved, but only as through fire. 1 Corinthians 3:13-15. ESV end of part 1. Stay tuned for part 2.